Right, I reckon by my planning we're probably live. Let me just check. It's always a bit of a delay. Yep, we're live. So let me just get your lovely introduction in. So hello everybody. I'm here with Ben and I have no idea. We're just saying I've no idea how I met Ben. I have no idea how long I've known you actually, but quite a while. And Ben is one of the most heart-centered chaps that I know.
Oh,
It's true. It's true.
you
And
lushy.
and actually, so Ben was a coach for me way back. And I'm just going to read you a bit about what Ben does. So he's been a coach for 11 years, but the last 3, you've been specializing in marriage coaching. You're
Yep.
married, Kerry. You've got 3 gorgeous girls with such lovely names, Florence, Eden, and Willow.
hmm
And together, I am right that you and Kerry do these courses together, don't you?
We've got a free course that we offer that we do together, but I field all the calls, although Kerry is the backbone of the business. She's the absolute brains of the operation, Emily. I just shipped out to the front.
So, this is who you help. You help marriages that are floundering, disconnected, or sexless, men that are
Yep.
depressed and irresponsible, wives that feel alone, overwhelmed, and are at the bottom of the priority pile. Gosh, I know I'm on that page, as in, I know mums put themselves at the bottom all the time.
Big problem.
Um,
Yeah.
and I've got a link to your 5 Pillars marriage course, which I'll put in
Which
underneath.
is free. Yeah, just put your email address in. We only probably send out emails once every 3 weeks or even once a month. So, but you could just unsubscribe immediately once you got the videos. It's fine.
Yeah, yeah.
But it's something we did for lockdown. We just hit on a number of different topics for folks. It's an hour long each, and Kerry and I are both in it discussing different topics that we think are important for couples.
Mm.
So yeah, and it's really fun. You know, it's really fun because some of these topics are so sensitive in nature. We just want to avoid them, but
Yes.
make it as fun as we can.
Yeah.
Kerry mainly putting me straight on a thing or two, which is just funny to watch.
So, and I'm glad you mentioned the lockdown thing because that I think is the reason why I wanted you on because
hmm
speaking personally, this whole situation has brought up a topic that my husband and I don't necessarily agree on. And I think that might be the case for lots of people. You know, you meet your partner, you've got similar values, you've got similar friends, you've been through a similar upbringing, and that's why you have that connection. And then,
hmm
you know, it's not necessarily the coronavirus, but a topic comes along and you're like, whoa, we're not on the same page. And it is quite tricky. So just to share an example of practically how that's showing up for us, when we go to the supermarket, my husband wants to wear a mask. I have views that I don't. And so now we tried going in together, but he kept looking, going, why aren't you wearing one? And I was like, I'm not having this conversation now. So now we shop separately. So anyway, that's just a practical example of where I'm at. So I would love any ideas you have about when people are on different pages.
Yeah, perfect. And I guess just a little bit of a disclaimer here that you or the people listening might not like what I'm going to have to say. Don't mean that I'm going to use blue language. Um, I can see a way, and I know what works, and I know what works in lots of other people's lives, but it's just a way.
Mhm.
So I'm not by any way um, demanding that you have to do it like this, which is an important disclaimer. It just makes it then a little bit easier on the air. Hey, this is just another way to do things.
Mhm. Mhm.
What a beautiful topic right in the midst of this. You, Andrew, your husband's name, right?
Yeah. Yeah,
You and
Andy.
Andrew have been on all, similar upbringing, similar values, similar outlook on life. You get along. You have disagreements occasionally, but on the whole, things are quite good. And now COVID has struck, and you're like, we could not. Who is this man? Who is this man I've woken up next to
But
wearing his mask?
I think he's the same. I think it's me that's gone off the rails. He's
Right.
who the hell is she?
And bless your heart, you just don't know what topics are really going to strike a strong emotional reaction in you until it occurs, until it happens. There literally should be a disclaimer in marriage that says, on the whole, you see all of me, unless unforeseen circumstances occur that are out of my control and turn me into a mad person. Then we're going to have something different to deal with. That should be in the marriage vows, I think. So what can be done about this? And this is such a big topic, Emily. This is literally my day-to-day bread and butter. And why I'm called to help with it is because it's very difficult to have a one-size-fits-all. As soon as you go for a one-size-fits-all, there are a plethora of other circumstances and other information that then modifies that one-size-fits-all, and it no longer fits. So couples come and we address one issue at a time, although there are some principles that really do help and really do work. Hence, that's why I've suggested not everyone might not like what I have to say. So initially then, the topic is seen to be, my husband and I have a disagreement on wearing masks, right? For example, right? And that's the topic, that's the issue, which is exactly the same time, the entire distraction from what the issue is really. What the issue is really is straight out of Stephen Covey's, Dr. Stephen Covey's 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. That I don't know which number the habit is, but the habit is, we seek to understand before seeking to be understood.
Okay.
Right. And what you and Andrew are expressing here is that, just to take that example, and millions of us are doing it, you're having a conversation at the time in the supermarket, and he's looking at you like, why aren't you wearing a mask when we're supposed to? Like, we're so far down the line of the event playing out that we've lost an opportunity to do that way better. We're going like 9-10 steps back to go back to the start point. The start point is, I'm not understanding Andrew. And yes, Andrew isn't understanding me either. And how we're having this conversation is across the supermarket aisle at the checkout, because we don't want to be in the same aisle, right? Because you want to wear a mask and I don't. That's the time we're having this conversation. And it's stressful. You aren't on that page. You've got your shopping list. You've got all the other baggage you've brought with you that day into the supermarket. He's got all of his. You bring in all of your lifelong conditioning. You've got all of the attention and the focus of everyone else around you. You're concerned about the checkout kiosk person. You've got to be somewhere in 25 minutes, so this can't take too long either. That's where your head's at. Talk about overwhelming. And now you're throwing opinions at each other across the checkout queue. I cannot solve that problem. It is impossible. There is too much going on, too much. But what can we do? Let's rewind a little bit here. Kerry and I, amongst all other things, what we do really well is we prioritize these really important issues. Now, okay, it's come up for you guys when you're in the supermarket, or really come to the front here. The principle is, you have no idea where someone is actually at when you're bringing up a conversation that's important to you. You don't know where Andrew is. When he's bringing up something that's important to him, he doesn't really know where you are. And what you will hear frequently as a buzzword in my home and in our marriage is, are you in a place to talk about? Are you in a place to have a conversation about? Are you really present to have this conversation with me around something that's really important to me, right? How it's done, I think we just touched base on this a little bit yesterday. I'm wiping a bum in potty training. Kerry is unloading the dishwasher, and I'm trying to get her to hear me about something that happened earlier on that day that I didn't like. how's that going to go? How's that going to work? That's insane. No, everything has to stop. Everything has to stop. We sit down, we create what I call a sacred space. That doesn't need to be woo-woo. It just means we're both present. Phones are off. Phones are even out of the room. Kids aren't going to interrupt us. And I'm going to give you my full attention for at least, name the number, 10 minutes. That's what I'm going to do. Now, what I've added as a note here is what that gives you the space to do is to feel implicitly heard and listened to, for you to feel valuable. If you aren't feeling valuable, all you have to go on is your opinion of whether or not to wear a mask. And that's what we hold on to. Here's me and my opinion. This is all I am. I'm not giving it up for nobody. Here's Andrew. This is my opinion. I'm not giving it up for anybody. The moment we make our outcome or the thing more important than our partner, we're screwed. We've lost it.
Do you know what
So,
came, sorry,
tell me,
you know what came
tell me, go on.
is that when you said, right, schedule a time, sit down, that suddenly felt very, very heavy. Do you know what I mean? Whereas when you're chatting, like you said, in the car or in the supermarket, you can just go chat, and it's quite light. But sitting down, that kind of makes it feel like it is quite a big thing. Maybe it is. Maybe that's the way.
What a brilliant point. And what potentially people are unaware of, when we throw our opinion and judgment at each other, we are because that happens so often, you're unaware with so much going on how that really makes you feel. And it's in that ball of lack of clarity that people are more likely to react and snap and attack back to one another. So he says, why aren't you wearing a mask? And you defend yourself with, yeah, but you know I don't want to wear a mask. Haven't you been, you know that. I've already told you how I feel about wearing a mask. So you're both saying, you're not listening to me. You're not listening to me. Yeah, but you're not listening to me. Right? So okay, I really get that. It feels a bit serious. And you know, guys are classic for this. Oh, I've got to sit down and listen, right? And actually have a conversation. What does she want to talk to me about now? It's done like this. And we're just using COVID as a topic, but I speak to people every day where it is they are so fearful of this. Fear kills all love, all connection. They're so fearful of it, and they're pretending they're not, yet it's ruining their opportunity to connect with their partner, ruining it. But we normalize it and minimize it. Not that big a deal. It's just a mask. Whoa, no, it is a big deal to you. Is a really big deal to you. And how do I know? Well, because when you're in the supermarket, you slap your husband across the face with your opinion.
Yes.
And he doesn't like that.
That really resonates with me, that whole fear thing, because it's quite, you know, we're in a marriage for a long time, aren't you? Or a relationship. But actually, there are times when you think, do you know what? I don't really want to rock this boat. So let's just, like you said, put up with it. But then
yes,
it's not being very honest, is it?
You just picked out on the introduction here, women, mothers, wives who feel like they're the bottom of the pile. You're just, that's inextricably linked. Of course, we don't want to rock the boat. It's just easier to just leave the bear with the sore head in the tree eating his honey. So come on, just get over it. And as soon as we make judgments like that, it's not dealt with. It becomes a layer for other layers to be put on in the day. And then we've got a mountain. Then we've got husband leaves the toilet seat up again and she just flips her lid. No pun, pun intended. But he's like, well, I left the toilet seat up yesterday and you weren't that bothered about this then.
Yeah.
Well, no, because now I've got 9 other issues underneath this one and I'm ready to burst, buddy. If you do one more thing wrong, and I don't disclose any of this, I just look at you. If you do one more thing wrong, I'm going to blow a gasket. And
Mm.
he doesn't know.
Yes.
He doesn't know. Men cannot read women's minds. They cannot. And I know they pretended they could at the altar, and you more so hope they could. But this is we're moving on slightly to another topic of making clear requests about what you want from your partner, which sounds bizarre. If you're not making clear requests and you haven't checked in to be sure you've been heard, they will make an assumption about what you've said. So you've got someone who's assuming something and not double checking, and you've got someone who's not really being that clear. You've got a recipe for disaster, and you've got a person feeling he never listens to me. Okay. Men can hear you when you say, holding his face, this topic is really important to me. I really need you to listen for 2 minutes. You can get done in 2 minutes. This doesn't need to be heavy.
Okay.
But you do need his attention.
Mm-hmm.
And he'll go to work or whatever the next day, and he'll say, she grabbed me and she said, I need you to listen. And I couldn't believe it. And they'll all go, whoa, I can't believe it. That's great. That's crazy. But he will be able to hear. So what does that allow to happen? When you feel more cared for, when you feel like you've got more of his attention, back to the original issue then, what is the right way? Who should and shouldn't wear a mask? When you've got his full attention, when you feel like what's important to you matters, when you feel heard to that degree, I see this every single day with calls I have, the actual outcome becomes less important and an opportunity to make a collaborative solution becomes more obvious. When I'm just holding on to my opinion, and it's just me and my opinion because I'm not feeling listened to and understood, then that's the only weapon I've got that matters right now. Yes. And we cannot let that go.
Yes. And I know we're talking about masks and it's just a topic, but yes. The thing is, it's a good example because it is very wear one or don't wear one. They are polar opposites.
It's such a good topic.
But for anything, but you can be in that scenario, can't you, where you're like, I'm here and he's there. So yeah, so talk a bit more about finding that it's not about the topic, the common ground.
Yes, excellent. So let's be in the common ground. Great headline. So it's slightly difficult because we don't exactly know what you and Andrew are going to say, but we know what you're going to say. So I can be Andrew and you can be you. Tell me what's really important to you about not wearing a mask right now. You tell me.
But you want me to do it now?
Yes? That right now. Yeah. Tell me what's important.
Okay. I've got a lot of reasons to think that they're not effective.
Okay.
I feel for me, it is the authorities telling me what to do when I don't think it's effective. A control issue, yes.
Yes. So I'll just feed that back. You have a number of opinions about this, but two that are quite strong for you is one, you don't believe in their effectiveness. So for you, what's the point? And the second one is you're feeling dictated to and told you have to do something that you don't even believe is effective anyway. And so you are just despising, I'm using that word, despising being dictated to and controlled. You hate that. And you find that so detestable, you literally can't help yourself but react by wanting to push against. Is that a fair summary of what you said?
That is a fair summary, yes.
And and how does that feel for you, just having me share that back?
I feel heard and understood.
We haven't changed anything yet.
No.
Right?
Yes.
The feeling in you is lighter. Now you've been given that gift of feeling heard and understood. You might feel, might not, we don't know. This is life, so we'll find out. You might feel more willing to listen to the way Andrew feels about wearing a mask. Might do. Let's try it. I'll pretend to be Andrew. This absolutely might not be how Andrew feels. I'm just scared. I hate the way I feel when other people judge me to not be doing the right thing. I feel embarrassed and uncomfortable. I feel separate to you. I feel like I just want to get it done. I know I have to. I minimize all this because I don't really understand exactly how I feel, but I just know I just want to do what I'm being told to do, get that done, and just get back out. It stresses me out so much, and I don't like how I feel when I'm there. Now, that might not be what Andrew would say. Okay. How does that feel listening to that perspective, that opinion?
Well, I don't, if that was what he would say, I don't want him to feel uncomfortable or stressed or pressurized. So,
Boom. Now, what comes to the now we're beyond masks. Now we're at a place of Emily and Andrew matter more than masks. It's
yeah.
why issues are so confusing. And I started us off at the top here with saying it's a confusing issue because it moves us away from what's important. Emily and Andrew are important. How Emily and Andrew feel is important. And if that is neglected and overlooked, again, we're back to opinions and fighting our opinion. That will not work for change. One possible outcome, again, we don't know because Andrew's not here, might be, I am willing to wear a mask because I love you.
Yes.
I hate being controlled, but you aren't controlling me and demanding I wear one. I just value how you feel. So I'm going to wear a mask because I love you. And that's a choice I have.
Yes, that's very good.
Forget government, legislation, and dictatorship. Don't know if I should say that live. I don't actually believe in those words I've just used. I'm making a joke. But then we've just prioritized love. Andrew might say, sweetheart, I can see how you feel about that. I'm really sorry. I can't help but wear a mask for me. But when we're in a supermarket, I will never judge you and how you want to go about it. I won't. I refuse to judge you. And I will do the best I can to not. And if someone interferes and makes a judgment of you not wearing a mask, I'm going to feel so uncomfortable. Is it okay if you deal with that? If that is an eventuality, I'll feel so embarrassed. Is it okay with you if I just walk over to the sunflowers and the kiwi fruits? You're going to go, that's fine. I understand. I understand you. I understand how you feel.
Yeah, that's very, very, that's very powerful. Just taking it, like you said, off the topic and about each other.
I got a couple who live on a boat, and he's quite the hoarder. Love these two. Absolutely makes my heart melt just thinking about him. He's a bit of a hoarder, and what they do occasionally, because of where he works, they've often got kickouts that they're going to throw away, but he's allowed to take because there's still value in. So what they do is then they take thing they're allowed to take, he does anyway, brings it home, and then they put it out on a little table to sell on the towpath along the canal. They just make a few quid teaching their son a bit of how to be a little bit industrious. So he brings this stuff home. They haven't really spoken about it. This is fresh from a call last night, so I can remember it so readily. And she starts the call with, I am sick to death of him bringing crap home. Sick of it. Filling up what space we haven't really got with crap he wants to bring up. He's going, what is wrong with Brit? I just want to. When he brings that stuff home, she isn't consulted and she doesn't feel like she matters to him in this set of choices that he's making. That's how she feels, which isn't expressed. It's just expressed this frustration about this stuff coming home, right? That's problem number one. And let's call that 1A. What's problem 1B? When she rants about it, he's feeling misunderstood and unheard, that what you're trying to do is a useless waste of time and there's nothing good about you. That's how he's feeling. So she's feeling you don't matter. He's feeling you're a waste of space. How are you gonna solve that problem ever? Start with acknowledging how they both feel, which is where we got to with the description I've just given, which sometimes people fight seeing. I've got to be honest. Said sometimes, all the time. Now, sweetheart, to the lady, you can't just tell him not to do that. He's going to feel controlled. But dude, you have to appreciate that you just bringing in whatever you like makes her feel like she doesn't matter to you, right? Here's the common ground. So you can't tell him no, and you can't just do whatever you want. Tough. If you don't like this, go and live on another boat and divorce. Okay, but you don't want to divorce and you want to live on the same boat. That's fine. So what would you like to happen, lady? I just don't want it to. Well, that's not, you can't say I don't want it to. This is a set of choices he wants to make. If you want this to work, the line is, you want to be right or you want to be married. Yeah, I think that's Esther Perel. Beautiful. Loads of podcasts of her. She's very direct and clear about couples crap. You're gonna have to find a way. What items are you willing to be brought onto the boat? Well, there are too many. Okay, all right, yep. What can you do? He can bring in any item over the value of £5. Okay, how does that feel? That feels okay. How about you? Do you feel controlled by that? A bit, but £5. Yeah, I can do that. That just means all the real crap that I was bringing back isn't brought back anymore. So we've got the common ground of £5.
Mm-hmm.
Everyone's happy to go up to £5. He wants to bring more. He wants to have his cake and eat it. What he wants is to love his wife better. What she wants is to love her partner better. Now we've got an agreement. Now that agreement might change in 10 days, and that's been the outcome. Let's do this for 10 days and let's gather some information. Let's see how that's gone. You might improve the value of the stuff you bring back. We don't know. But they equally felt heard and listened to. That's the principle I'm really wanting to point out today. Stephen Covey's seek to understand before seeking to be understood. And then when there's that willingness to prioritize your partner, a solution just poof out of thin air. It's not always that easy, but that's the best I got today.
I like that. Do you want to be right or married? I've heard, do you want to be right or happy?
Very close.
And I do think sometimes our sort of ego gets in the way, I'm right. And you're just going, and both my husband and my eldest son have that last word thing. So you're having a discussion and they just go, yeah, but that's what I said in the beginning, or yes, but I did get it right, and you're just like, okay, you have the last word.
You got it. This is me, in my opinion, right? This is at times that ego says this is all we are, is us and our opinion. We've got to hold on to it for dear life. And in that space of me, as I'm rocking and nursing my opinion here, I can't be thinking about you. But so the real winner, and I shouldn't talk in terms like that, but the real winner is the person who is willing to listen and care about the other. That brings a natural uplifting feeling for the person doing that. So they win. The person who gets attached to want to be right, they tend to lose, but they always sell themselves on that short-term victory of I was right in that conversation, which gives them nothing long-term, but it's very seductive. Yeah, perhaps a topic for a new call.
So that's been amazing. We're getting close to the end. So I just wanted to touch on if either one of the partners, for example, has lost their job or is on furlough. And again, it might be a situation that they haven't experienced before, having a financial strain.
Yeah.
Can all be, happily going on in our life with our two incomes and the mortgage and the kids and everything's peachy. And then suddenly something, it's like what do you say? The chairs being knocked from under you, or whatever the expression is. How do we support each other when we've got that extra strain? And I think particularly for men, and I know we're aiming for equality, but I do always feel that men have more pressure to be the breadwinner. I think it's inherent that they feel like they need to provide for their families. So I think in particular for a man, it's hard if they've lost their job.
And it's a great topic because I've got a lot of personal experience with this myself. Is my masculinity and manhood was apparently inextricably linked to my ability to provide and be successful, right? And that controlled my entire outlook on life. And it's so binary. If I'm doing that well, I'm worth something. If I'm not doing that well, I'm worth nothing. And obviously everybody hates that feeling of I'm worth nothing. So it becomes so stressful. Like that's my only path. I have to be able to provide and do that successfully, or I am worth nothing. And that is largely the way, keeping the topic on men here, men are raised with. Men are revered in the playground for being successful, being macho, being strong, being good sports people, what women they can attract, you know, how men can stand alone and conquer is increases their sense of esteem short term. And it's a horrible trap, because what men eventually work out is that they aren't in control. They are not in control. And life is so transient that what they thought they had built their life upon can be knocked out from underneath them, to coin your expression, Emily, in a heartbeat. So because it's such a big topic, a step to improve that I am with men all the time, and we seem to take a long time to even get to this point where they go, okay, is to name how they feel. Right. And for most guys, when they start to feel stuff, they feel about out of control. So they're quite resistant to it. But for them to be able to name to their wives, now the wife, to just keep it in practical terms here, the wife's job is to just listen and not judge and be present with them. So husband's job, name how he feels. I feel like a failure. I feel like I'm not good enough. I feel inadequate. You know, it takes some work for men to get to that space, but as soon as they can get to that space, and they have to if they want any kind of life without trying to control everything, the first step is to get to that safe space, again, safe, sacred space with your partner. It can just start there, where you're naming the way that you feel. Now, again, like we did with the masks approach, once you start naming that, it's such a release of energy. It's such a shining light on what the problem really is, that you can feel quite liberated. With that ball of tension and stress, it is impossible to see choices clearly. I'm so clamped down and shut down, and I so want to withdraw and do what I know, which isn't working, obviously. That's the only choice I've got. When I start naming these emotions, it's like all that stress starts falling away. Not entirely, right? But in this conversation, it can start to fall away, and you can find yourself some fresh oxygen. All right. And what any one person has to then do is another conversation. But with that, stress brings stress and anxiety, without being named, brings this huge fog of and a lack of clarity of what is really available and possible. As soon as you name it, I feel worthless, I feel inadequate, I feel like there's something wrong with me. It lifts the fog sufficiently for you to go, hey, I couldn't stop this happening. Hey, what are my skills? Hey, can I find some budget to retrain? What can I do to make money right now? What can we do? It's not just man's solution. Just in this scenario, in this dialogue here, what can we do together? And predominantly, that's what I'm finding from wives is, I want to contribute. I want to participate with you. It's not just you doing this. And I still fall into this for myself. I'm like, I feel bad, Kerry, because I've got to do this and what I've got. She's like, yeah, but you're not doing that on your own, are you? We're a team. Oh, yes, we're a team. I am primarily responsible for earning the income, but we're working together as a team to find the best solution for that. And of course, unless these feelings are named, again, it still can become, this is my way or the highway. There has to be understanding, there has to be safe space, and you have to be present without phones. Can't be distracted in this space if you want to find effective solutions to this problem. Does that make sense?
Yes. Something that I remembered actually, though, I remember reading an article, and it was talking about how women have also been conditioned to want their man to be this strong, powerful leader, and actually that it was sharing examples of men who've said, you know, women say they want men to be more vulnerable, and they said, I opened up and said, you know, I feel scared or this, and the woman was just like, I don't want to hear that. I'm not, you know, or just shut down, or just was like, no, I want the man who's going to look after me and strong. And it sounds also stereotypical, but I think as a woman, I think we have a responsibility to not put that burden on our partners, because when they are vulnerable, you don't want to go, oh my God, you're being such a wimp. And then, do you know what I mean?
And it's such a brilliant point, and it's precisely the reason why industries like mine and roles like mine exist. Because people find, although I'm giving the process here, people find it really hard because they're bringing so much into that space. It can become very overwhelming and very fearful. So fear is the problem. Each individual is not the problem. Fear is the problem. Okay. And so I'm sure I told you, I lost 120 something grand going back 7 years, fell flat on our face. And we had support, Kerry and I, to work through that. It was the epitome of pulling the rug beneath Ben's feet. And of course, I wanted to jump into depression. I wanted to solve that problem. I wanted to be the leader. I wanted to charge us out on the horse, and Kerry just be this dutiful wife just sat at home waiting for me. Kerry didn't say that. Kerry said, I want you to love me. That's what I want from you. I want you to love me, and let's work through this together. Now, I wouldn't have been able to hear that if I didn't have a supportive third party helping us through those challenging steps. And we are talking about a big challenge here of someone's income is wiped out. But there are lots of resources to help you with that. First and foremost, couples have to get more on the same page, which is bringing us back to go and watch the Love During Lockdown course. There are tons of marital resources out there to help couples, but you've got this intensely underutilized resource as a couple. You've both got a huge amount of skills. Largely they're complementary. You might not always get on every single minute of every single day, whatever. There's a problem to be solved. And just giving couples the chance to work together and grow together, we need stress and challenge. Otherwise, everything's okay, isn't it? Well, I don't know. I think so. We've paid all our bills. So is it okay? No, it's until shit hits the fan, we don't really know what's in there. And that's growth. That's growth. And Eckhart Tolle says, and this can sound really harsh when people are really struggling, and hey, I've struggled too. The experience that we're having right now is exactly the experience we need to be having in order for us to grow, right? What we want to do is fight the experience and control the world, play God. And yet there's just a way to allow life to occur and for us to have the fog lift and to see what choices we have in amongst this chaos. It is possible. I'm seeing it every single day in my own life and the lives of others.
Have you ever seen that film Evan Almighty? It's like a kid's film. Yeah. Okay, so my favorite ever moment in a film is when old what's his name? You know who plays God? Morgan Freeman.
Yes.
He's being the server, and he comes over and he says, do you think when someone wants courage, God gives them courage, or do you think he gives them the opportunity to be courageous? And I'm just like, yes. That is just the best, because every time I have a challenge, I'm like, oh, this is a gift, obviously.
and it is a real challenge to access that higher perspective.
Mm.
It really is.
Yeah, yeah.
So what? It's tough. It's hard. Yeah. Easy choices, hard life. Hard choices, easy life. There's a guy, Greg, I can't remember the name. I think he's a Polish guy. He's had a really tough life, but that's his life mantra. And so, yeah, like we want to just give me courage and I'll take on the thing. Where's the learning in that for you?
Yeah.
Like, give me muscles and I'll go to the gym. Don't work that way. And we get that it doesn't work that way in the gym, but we don't want life to be like that. We want life to be nice and safe and comfortable. That's what we want, Emily. But is that what we need? Is that what our soul needs? Is that why we're here? Nice and comfortable and easy, then we die? Is that it? No, please. No. And don't get me wrong, so many eventualities have occurred in my life attracted by my mistakes or other. And as soon as that issue is revealed to me, I'm running around like this guy with his hair on fire because I don't want it to be happening, right? And eventually, when you put the fire out and you get to this place of understanding and the cloud lifts, you can see your choices and you go, yeah, why shouldn't this happen to me? Why not me? Why someone else? Why not me? And it is and I should just watch my step there because it is a real challenge to access that space. And I know people perhaps listening have got so many different things going on in their lives. I get it.
Yes. And we can all intellectually access it, but emotionally, when you're in it, not so easy.
You're absolutely right.
That's been amazing. Thank you so much for your time. I'm going to put the link to your free course under this video. Yes, you're just a genius. So people sign up. I'm going to sign up. I want to watch the videos because I haven't really spoken to Kerry, I don't think, or seen her. So it'll be good to see how you guys work as a team as well.
You're going to have a ball watching how I get cut down to size, mister. I think I know it all over here. And obviously, if anyone wants to get straight in touch, they can. You know, we don't obviously charge. And often we speak to people for the first time and we help them look at things differently and make a bit of a plan. And we give that for free, you know, as part of what we've almost costed in from our business expenses. So it doesn't always have to lead to working with us. It's no problem. It's just valuable to get in touch and to speak to someone who has some experience of solving these kind of problems. You know, we're solving that problem every single day. You don't take your car for an MOT and try and perform the MOT. You know, everyone expects, if my car needs an MOT, I take it and the mechanics solve the problems for me.
Yes.
Yet with life issues and stuff we think we should manage, we go and get our big toolkits out and we start unscrewing things on the engine, and I'll sort this out myself. Yeah.
Brilliant. That's been so good. So thank you ever so much, and I'll speak to you soon. All right.
Okay, Emily. Lovely to see you, honey. Bye.
Bye.